You've most likely seen this image somewhere. A man with long, rope-like dreadlocks, a large beanie with the Ethiopian flag colors, eyes half closed, smoke curling in the air, reggae music pulsing in the background. To many, this is the stereotype of a Rastafarian. But the truth is, Rastafari is not just about long dreads and getting high. It's a religion that has layers of history and fascinating facts beneath it. Today on Religious Shock, we're peeling back these layers, and trust me when I say, there's a lot I bet you never knew about this fascinating religion. So, sit back, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Rastafari emerged in the 1930s in Jamaica, but its heartbeat started much earlier. The seeds were planted in the words of Marcus Garvey, a Jamaican activist who called for the return of African descendants in the West back to their ancestral homeland. Garvey famously said, "Look to Africa, when a black king shall be crowned, for the day of deliverance is near." In 1930, in Ethiopia, Rastafari Makanan was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia. To Garvey's followers, this was no coincidence. To the Rastas, this was the fulfillment of Marcus Garvey's prophecy. They saw Selassie as the living God, a king, the Messiah, the earthly representation of Jah. For most religions, God is distant, unreachable, invisible, somewhere beyond the clouds. But for Rastafarians in the 1930s, God walked the earth in the form of a man. Even the titles used to address the African leader were biblical. They called him the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and Conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. Beyond being a religion, Rastafarianism was a protest and a rejection of Babylon, which represented the oppressive colonial system, racial injustice, and cultural erasure forced on African descendants in the Caribbean. This was what made Ethiopia and its emperor unique. Ethiopia was the only African nation never colonized by a European power, a living symbol of black pride and resistance. In Selassie, Rastas saw a divine ruler who stood against Babylon. On April 21, 1966, Haile Selassie came to Jamaica. Thousands of Rastas flooded the streets and the police struggled to hold back the crowds. Witnesses said the scent of Ganja hung thick in the air. Some claimed rain fell just before his plane landed, a sign of blessing from Jah himself. And while Selassie didn't directly declare himself God, he didn't deny the Rastas' devotion either. For many, his mere presence was confirmation of everything they believed, and Marcus Garvey's prophecy. Africa was the promised land, and one day they'll return to it. That day became a holy one in Rasta culture, and they called it Gru Nation Day. Let's talk about the unique appearance of the Rastafarians. If you think dreadlocks are just a hairstyle, you're missing the point. For Rastas, dreadlocks are a covenant with Jah, inspired by the Nazarite vow in the Bible, which instructs the Nazarites to not cut their hair. There's also a rebellious motive behind this unique hairstyle. The locks symbolize a rejection of Babylon's beauty standards. In colonial Jamaica, cutting your hair short was the civilized look. Wearing your hair in long, uncombed locks was seen as wild, savage, even dangerous. Rastas embraced that danger. Their locks said, "We answer to Jah, not to Babylon." Some Rastas even say dreadlocks are spiritual antennas that keep them connected to divine energy. Now, here's where outsiders get it twisted. Consumption of marijuana or ganja is not just about getting stoned for Rastas. It's a sacrament. It's smoked in a ritual setting, often during their spiritual gatherings where they discuss scripture, philosophy, and life. These spiritual gatherings, called Nyabingi, are usually filled with drumming, chanting, and prayer. They can last for days, fueled by rhythm, ganja, and scripture readings. The use of ganja is deeply rooted in the belief that it enhances meditation and prayer by clearing the mind. Rastas point to biblical passages as proof that the herb is God-given, like Psalm 104:14, which says, "He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man." For decades, ganja was demonized in Jamaica due to colonial laws and American pressure. Police raids destroyed crops, and Rastas were jailed for possession of even small amounts. But over time, attitudes shifted. The global cannabis movement and recognition of Rastafari's religious rights pressured Jamaica to ease restrictions. In 2015, Jamaica decriminalized small amounts of marijuana and recognized its sacramental use for Rastafarians. Still, while the government now profits from the cannabis industry through licensing and exports, many Rastas argue they were jailed and brutalized for decades for something they considered holy. and they've received no reparations. They were heavily persecuted. Colonial authorities and later the Jamaican government cracked down hard on them. Dreadlocks were mocked and seen as unclean. Rastas were labeled criminals, outcasts, even madmen. Yet the persecution only deepened their faith. Each arrest, each beating was another sign of Babylon's corruption and proof that the Rasta way was righteous. Rastas often follow a special diet. They eat food that's natural, clean, and unprocessed. Many avoid meat, especially pork, seeing it as unclean. Some are strict vegans, while others eat fish but refuse anything with scales missing. Artificial flavors, canned goods, and excess salt are frowned upon. The goal is simple: to live in harmony with the earth and keep the body as pure as possible, because the body is the temple of Jah. Before reggae, Rastafari was mostly confined to Jamaica's hills and poor urban neighborhoods. But then came Bob Marley and the Wailers, and suddenly, the sound of Jamaica was the sound of Rasta. Songs like Exodus and One Love weren't just hits. The world learned about Babylon, Jah, Zion, and the sacred herb not from sermons, but from vinyl records. Through reggae, dreadlocks became a global symbol of rebellion, freedom, and spirituality. Ganja became almost synonymous with Jamaican culture. But while reggae helped spread Rasta culture, it also brought unwanted attention. Police continued to raid Rasta communities. In some cases, dreadlocks were forcibly cut off. The Jamaican government, under pressure from the US, kept marijuana illegal for decades. In the eyes of Babylon, ganja was a dangerous drug fueling crime. In the eyes of Rastas, this was persecution for practicing their faith. Like every other religion, there are divisions within Rastafari. Some Bobo Ashanti Rastas wear turbans instead of free-flowing dreadlocks. Some Nyabingi Rastas reject certain modern influences. And then there's the debate within the sect over whether Haile Selassie was literally divine or a symbolic figure. Even ganja itself remains controversial in the movement. Some Rastas don't use it at all, arguing it's not mandatory and has been overemphasized by outsiders. Today, outsiders treat Rastafarianism as a fashion trend. Ganja became a recreational drug. People began to adopt the look without the lifestyle. For many Rastas, this cultural appropriation stripped away the sacred meaning of their symbols. To them, dreadlocks aren't just cool, and ganja isn't just fun. They are holy commitments. While dreadlocks and ganja might be the most visible signs of Rastafari, they're just the surface. At its heart, Rasta is a way of life, a fusion of spirituality, Afrocentric pride, and resistance against oppression. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. If you stayed till this point of the video, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.